Fuck with us, you insane in the mind. You cowards way out of line. Money talk, boy, you wasting my time. You don't wanna put the work in, you just wanna taste of the shine. Real talk, so it's hard to trust. I'm in it for the long ride, like I drive a chartered bus. Scars and blood from the deadly bars I bust. And all we trust, the army body bombs or bust. Log about it, naysayer, you can hardly doubt it. Who's the best, who's the worst? We can argue hours. Running through Soldier Field, I'm Jordan Howard. Nowadays they respect money more than power. Money, power, respect, we all want some.
That was the longest 40 seconds of my entire life.
During this episode's intro, Daniel took two big of the hit off of his Snapdragon TCHA Live Resin 2 gram disposable vape and temporarily went into another dimension. The results are as follows.
I don't know what just happened. My wife just asked if I was okay. So, welcome to Live, Laugh, Lariat. I am Daniel, joined as always, or sometimes, or maybe the last time, by Trey Havoc. Today, we're very excited to bring on perhaps one of the top 3 people ever born in Wilmington. Jak Tatum.
It's crazy. I was nervous about this interview.
Oh, you were nervous?
Yes!
I'm on this. So
I've been begging to be on this show for like a year.
You know what? We're going to make this a serious interview because Jack deserves it.
I like that we're locking in now.
Jak Tatum.
A 10-minute mark. It's like, you know what? Let's actually...
why don't we do this thing that we all came here to do? So Jak Tatum, criminally underrated, I would say.
Felony underrated.
Felony
I'll
underrated.
say that.
It's a felony.
Yeah. I also would like to say this is you're slick with it.
The fuck does that mean?
It just
What do you mean?
you're smooth. Like you're in the
Okay.
You don't have,
I understand what you mean. For some reason, I assigned some ulterior motive to whatever you were saying. But you could just say my drop kick looks nice, but like you have to say you're slick with it. It makes it sound like I'm getting away with something. You know?
Oh no. I don't even know if that's a phrase. I know that.
Now he's slick with it.
You are slick with it.
You're slick with the bullshit.
Okay, Trey, I have a mute button. All right.
Oh, what?
Much better. Oh no.
Okay, this works. This works.
Fuck.
All right. So Jak Tatum, where can everybody find you on social media? Where can they support you?
Oh, we're doing plugs now.
Have you ever watched the show?
Very briefly. I think I've
It's
watched
okay.
just one episode, maybe no avail.
Of course.
That's a good episode. You know Trey's been on twice.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. You can find me on I think most social medias, Twitter, Facebook, and maybe Instagram are real Jak Tatum. Important thing is Jak, J-A-K, Tatum, T-A-T-U-M. It's no C in the J in the Jak. You can't see me, you know. Haha.
Has anyone called you Jak Tatum?
Jak what?
Taint?
Actually, not until recently. I think I somehow went like 9 years in the business without hearing that until I was in the locker room with Drew Hood.
Yeah.
And it just spilled out of him.
Yeah. That's something I like to do is when I meet people, I like to think of what I would have called them if I knew them and I was a bully. And then I like to ask to see if I'm creative or if it's something that somebody's called them before. So
it's a fun bit. I didn't mean to make the show too serious now where you forced a plug segment, you know.
No, it's not. It's how we start every show. Yeah. That's the only normal part of the show so far.
Now I'm really exposing myself as not a fan.
It's okay.
Yeah.
There are
someone that begs for the clout.
Yeah, it's a clout. It's nobody reads PW 500, but they want to be on the list. I'll put it that way.
You know, I just recently found out for the PWI 500 that you have to like send in material.
Yeah.
I just recently found that out, and for like all these years I've been a wrestler, I've been like seeing it and be like, nah, it's whatever, maybe next year. But I didn't send shit in,
Yeah.
so I just found that out. I feel like an idiot. Yeah.
No, I just found that out too.
Yeah.
A submission form.
Does that mean that Roman Reigns is out there just like, oh, should I do SummerSlam or should I do WrestleMania this year?
I think I'll send in my Mania match. I think that's
Yeah.
my better. How
Um,
many singles matches have you had?
We're counting house shows. If we're counting house shows. Yeah, speaking of wrestling, Jack is a wrestler. Been around for.
Barely.
Speaking of wrestling, this is a wrestling podcast. We are interviewing a wrestler, someone who's dedicated his life to the craft.
Yeah.
Even.
You could say. We're off to a great site.
Yeah,
We're off
yeah.
to a great start.
Who is Jack Tatum, the wrestler? Like, who is Jack Tatum, the person in the ring? Like, who is the character of Jack Tatum?
There's not a lot of difference between the wrestler, the person in the ring, and the person. Honestly, I'm an idiot that dropped out of college. I had everything handed to me when I was younger. I was very spoiled and whatever. Dropped out of college because I found wrestling. Decided to chase that dragon for as far as I could, and I've been homeless. It's like I've just been doing the wrestling thing ever since. I just kind of dropped everything in life and decided to become a wrestler at whatever means necessary. Is the simplest I could put the story. Is I'm just an idiot that fell in love with wrestling and dropped everything that was handed to me to become a wrestler.
Which leads me to my next question. November 4th, I think, is the election. Who are you voting for?
Ben, why are you like this? Why are you the way that you are? I just need to know.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way.
Which brings me to the election.
I just like last time when I voted, I just wrote in my mom. I'm doing that again.
Yeah.
Not her name, just my
My
mom.
mom.
It just feels like a car ride.
Yeah, that might be the best compliment, unless you hate car rides.
No,
that I've ever
honestly, Trey can attest. Big fan. Big fan.
Jack is a
just open up.
We get trauma dump. We get to fucking scream into the void.
Yeah.
When you said that you're a big fan of car rides, you said you're a big fan of car rides. My first thought is like my dog. It's just like he runs into the car and he's like, roll down the window, and you just like stick your head out.
That's
like,
Jack.
That's me. For years, I didn't have a license. Trey would drive me to like half the shows we were on. He would just pull up, and I'd just run in his car, just hop in, just like a dog. He's like, "Where are we going? Where are we going?" He'd be like, "We're going to Extreme Shock today,"
He's just on the porch, on the porch with his bags. I'm like, bro, like you can leave the house. I'll call you. No, I'm ready.
I know
I
gotta
piss like a fucking
go for it.
3 hours later.
Is it always this like relaxed and chilled, or is it me? Or
Not all. It depends. Like it depends on who the guest is, really.
Okay. Well, hopefully that makes me a repeat guest.
You don't have any business being as slick as you are, but you are, and that's a talent. You're slick with it.
That feels like a weird backhanded compliment.
The brain,
no, like
real smooth.
It's no, like.
Why don't I have this being as slick with it as I am? I understand what you mean by being slick with it.
Like when
I'm just gonna say, it's like you could just say I have a nice drop kick. You could just say that.
No. I'm saying like slick with it. It's not even a wrestling thing. It's like Like Michael Jackson slick with
Is it because I don't use Facebook like I should? I
What?
I'm
don't.
trying to give you a compliment.
Are you saying I have swag?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying like you have like this special like I want to say it's like it factor like everything you do is believable, and that's a lot to be said when wrestlers are supposed to be like these superheroes, like these like larger than life individuals. So you
Okay,
play the part like it's
Yeah. No, I wish you'd really started with it factor instead of saying I'm slick with it or whatever the fuck.
I understood what he said. I understood what he did.
Yeah.
I understood what he was getting at, but I couldn't let him get away with it.
He said you're slick with it. You're smooth.
Yeah, you're smooth.
That doesn't mean I have an it factor, but okay.
It's
Okay, and I appreciate that. Yeah. I don't know what I'm supposed to say to that, except
Thank you.
I've heard that a
Nothing
lot,
with it.
and I do appreciate the compliment, but
What?
I've heard that a lot in my career, and
But you have the it factor.
relative to that, it factor, you have it, you have there's something about you, whatever.
I think you're being completely serious.
Huh?
But I'm confident that I think you're being completely serious, and I believe people have told you that, and it's because it's warranted. But the way that you said that, you're just like, I've been told that once or twice.
Yeah.
The it factor that I have that I'm the next best thing.
Well, I've been told it for 9 years, and I'm trying to not let it go to my head. So
yeah, I've been told that I'm the new Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart if they had a baby that was good at wrestling.
yeah, I'm him.
Hold on a second.
But no, I think a lot of that manifests and when you leave it all in the ring. This is something my dad used to say about my performances in the ring. He's like, you leave it all in the ring, yada yada yada. And I think a lot of the it factor, and you have it, and you're doing something different from everyone else, comes from leaving it all in the ring, emotionally, physically, so on and so forth. Just pouring it all out there for everyone to witness. And that to me, that's the it factor, is being able to put everything you have as a human out there for everyone to see, for better or for worse. That's the it factor, is being willing to do that. I'm gonna make this a serious fucking topic, whether you guys want it or not.
So we'll start off like we start it off almost every podcast. You're a wrestler. You probably liked wrestling your whole life. Is that accurate?
We're starting off. Yeah, I've loved wrestling for most of my life. I grew up loving it. I was an identical twin, so I grew up loving tag teams. Me and my identical twin would watch the Road Warriors and be like, "You're him and I'm him," and it was like the most represented we felt in media was through tag team wrestling in the late 90s, early 2000s stuff. Then I got bullied out of liking wrestling in like middle school and stuff. I didn't think it was cool because it was whatever.
Oh, we've been there.
And then sometime in high school, fell back in love with it out of nowhere. I think, no, honestly, it was me and my brother, my twin brother. We had randomly heard the Road Warriors theme in some YouTube video or something, and it like triggered something in us. They were like, "Oh shit, we used to love wrestling," and then we just kind of went down that rabbit hole, and chased that to the logical end of, oh, there's nothing else I want to do in life but wrestling. And here I am.
So, at what point did you hop back in? Like what was going on in that time period?
20. I want to say late 2014, early 2015. It was like a little bit before the Shield showed up. About a year before the Shield showed up. because I remember the Shield showed up, and I attached to Dean Ambrose, and I looked into his indie stuff, found John Moxley. That became a whole thing. Watch my work.
Yeah.
But it was, so I want to say 2014. All I can tell you for sure is the first segment that I tuned back into when I was like, oh yeah, I used to love wrestling. What's going on now on Monday Night Raw? It was Santino Marella. I think it was Santino Marella versus Brodus Clay. And it was some ridiculous match. But I remember the first match tuning back into wrestling, being like, oh, I love this. Was Santino Marella marching down to the ring. It's like, oh shit, what the what have they done to the game I love? You know?
It's like when you like have a TV show that you stop watching and then like they go seasons, and you're just like half the characters are dead. Like what do you guys think of Brodus Clay? Because like
Brodus, I mean, Brodus Clay, the character rules.
Yeah.
Funkasaurus is awesome. You know, Funk is on a roll, baby.
I love the misdirect with his main roster debut because it was like really like impending doom, super serious, and then Funk is on a roll, starts playing, and comes out in the jumpsuit.
Yeah, yeah. Tyre's different guy.
Yeah. What do you guys think of
Brodus Clay, Funkasaurus? I think that's the first ever dark match I saw. That's the first ever WWE match I saw in an arena. I went to like a Raw show or whatever, and they had a dark match with Brodus Clay in it. It was the first match. So Brodus Clay rules.
For a second there, you scared me when you said I was not identical. I can believe that.
Did you do it?
No, he just stopped wrestling, so he's dead to me.
So I got that leads to like,
leave that in the interview. That'll kill him inside.
So so you go through high school, I'm assuming. You go to college, and then you drop out to pursue wrestling. Have you started wrestling beforehand, or did it get to a point where like you had been wrestling where you're like, I need to give this my full undivided attention?
Not really. So like the summer after I graduated high school, I found a local indie promotion, UPWA. Trey knows them. It's a promotion based out of Wilmington. The promoter's based out of New Jersey, but he travels down. Whatever. I don't know. But he has a show every 3 months or so in Wilmington. And I had been to a few of their shows in the past. I reached out to him during the summer after high school. Said, I wanted to be a pro wrestler. What do I have to do? And he basically put me on ring crew. I was just helping with, setting up the ring, breaking it down, whatever. Me and my twin brother, actually. And before shows, when we'd set up the ring, some of the wrestlers would get in there with us and show us a few things. Show us how to bump, do whatever. Yeah. Just very basic stuff. And did that for like all of summer, basically, until bug got up my ass one day, and I just decided to Google wrestling schools near me. Found WWA 4 in Atlanta, went down there, learned how to actually do it. But for the most part, it was just ring crew, doing some stuff before the show, yada yada. Yeah. Matthew Tatum.
No, not Matthew Tatum.
Put on the damn boots, brother. Why not? What else do you have going on? Come on.
Come on, Matt.
WWA 4, at the time run by Total Protection, Mr. Hughes.
Yeah.
But I was there for 8 to 9 months until AR Fox started to take over the school. I was trained by Mr. Hughes mainly, and a little by AR Fox at WWA 4.
What does Mr. Hughes' training look like? Is he in the room with you, or is he just kind of telling people what to do?
So he had like it was a big building. It was the back room. Okay, so it was a big like shopping center, half of the shopping center was a strip joint, and the other half was the wrestling school. So there was 4 rings. There was like a 20 by 20 foot former WWE ring, apparently. That was like the main ring. And there was 3 training rings, like a lucha ring, a 16 by 16, and a regular 18 by 18. And we would train, like do all the beginner stuff in the 18 by 18. People would like fuck around in the 16 by 16 and lucha ring and just do whatever. You do beginner stuff in the 18, and then eventually you'd go out in the 20-foot ring where Mr. Hughes was sat in a chair in the corner of the ring, and you would do whatever you learned in front of him, and he would give you a thumbs up or thumbs down. He was very cruel is a word, but like I'm appreciative of everything he did, but he's very like insistive. Insistent? That's not a word. He was very insistent on insistent. Is that a word?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was very insistent on how things were done or whatever.
Very particular.
And, very particular. It's a very good way to put it. But
Anal.
and there's a very like strict curriculum. It was very, as far as wrestling schools, as far as I've seen since then, it's the most put together one I've ever seen. It was very clear beginners, intermediate, advanced, and it was very obvious like who was progressing through that.
Yeah.
Whereas for the most part, it's very subjective at wrestling schools, and it gets tricky. But no, I could not ask for better training, honestly, and life experiences. Moving down to Atlanta at that time was great. It was I learned a lot about life.
Is that because the wrestling school was also in the same building?
Yes, and I mean yes, because it for the wrestling school to be in the back of a strip club, it was in a bad part of town. It was Fulton Industrial Boulevard in Atlanta, and we all stayed in the Red Roof Inn across the road from the strip club, and so yeah, we'd pay like a discounted rate at the Red Roof Inn. We all had like the basement floor was the wrestler floor. We all had that floor, and then we'd go to wrestle in the back of a strip club every day, 5 days a week. It was.
Do you have to walk through the strip club to get to the?
No, thank God, no. We went in like the loading dock, and like the loading bay out back is how we got in. But however, some of our wrestlers were like bodyguards for the strip club and stuff. So we were regularly in the strip club. That's also where we went to get water. Is we didn't have a water fountain or anything, so we'd have to go through a door to go to the strip club and get water from the bar.
I'm just imagining like some of the kids that I see like at like training schools. Like you just imagine like all these like this kid like wrestlers when they're fully polished are like these.
Dude,
like,
this is where like Jonathan Gresham broke in.
Yeah.
Like Google WWA 4 and like the list of guys that come out of there. It's so funny to think of like Moose, Heath Slater, Jonathan Gresham, like same situation. 18-year-old prepubescent Jak Tatum, just fucking me and my twin brother. Hey, we need some water. We're gonna be the next Usos.
Was that a pro or a con that you had to go to the strip club to get water?
I didn't.
For me, that would probably make me anxious. Like, I have to go in here.
Absolutely.
I actually didn't personally. I didn't have to go to the strip club a lot because I usually brought a lot of water myself.
Yeah, you're like I don't want to.
Yeah, I think all the guys that had to go to I think all the guys that had to go to get water were they just wanted to go to the strip club and
damn, I forgot my
get
water.
A free show while they're getting water. Yeah. But I was too locked in at the time. It's like I wasn't even thinking about the fact that we were attached to a fucking club wax. Mr. Hughes wasn't a fan. I was trying my best in training. I'll say that.
What are some of the worst things that Mr. Hughes ever called you?
Called me? I couldn't tell you because I don't know if I was just like late to puberty or if I was just small for my size or whatever the fuck. I don't fucking know. But he used to like always bring. I remember there was this like super strong Hawaiian chick, and she was doing dips on this like dip machine we had, and then I went and did it, and I'm shaking, and he just screams from across the room, "I didn't see her shaking," and it crushed me. Like that's the best I can give you is that example. That and he hated my punches.
Oh.
But he liked my debut match, so I'm okay with that. You know, he gave me the thumbs up on that. It was very like, dad tells you he loves you at the end of the movie kind of moment.
Who was your debut match?
Huh? Ashton Starr.
Ashton Starr.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. You frickin' jack off. Figured you would have
Whoa.
seen it by now.
I
Best friend.
have. I mean, this is
Just
for
like you
content.
saw his
Oh,
interviews.
You've seen your debut match. I don't know. I've shown
I know your
debut
fucking
match to
debut matches.
He's
I knew it was
trying to
fucking
be-
Ashton Starr. Nigga, I didn't fucking know that shit. I'm doing this for content, fucking asshole.
Sorry,
should
you've
be
been quiet the whole
saying
time.
anything.
I felt like I needed to come at you.
So, who were some other guys in your class at WWA 4?
My class is shit, honestly. I was actually joking about this the other day with the kid I'm training, Jared. Is the guys I debuted with? There was a pair of brothers that neither of them are wrestling anymore. Then there was Kenny, who I think is working some mud shows in Florida. I think I saw him at a very disreputable school in a video. Something to do with Teddy Hart, that school. If you've seen the documentaries about Teddy Hart, he was at that school in a video of theirs having a match. I was like, okay, not a good look. That was a few years ago. And then my only actual classmate that I acknowledge, I guess, is Cavron Canyon, who's up in, I want to say he's in the Midwest right now. But he does some deathmatch stuff, does whole sort of redneck gimmick. Cav is awesome. I love him. He lives the gimmick. It's not a gimmick. He's super fucking redneck. He's just a character through and through. I haven't worked him in years. I'd love to, but that's the only guy, honestly, out of my class that I feel like is really out there working is Cavron Canyon. Other than that, I don't know. I trained with a lot of guys. A lot of guys gave me insight and whatever. I could drop names here and there and all over the fucking place. I mean, Odinson was a big one for me and my brother. He's with NWA right now, or not NWA. Yeah, he's with NWA and Noah right now. He was a huge inspiration. He saw me and my brother, and for whatever reason, latched onto us. It was just very encouraging. Austin Towers is a guy I want to shout out. He's in the Georgia area. He's very encouraging. He was also making his way through. He always worked one-on-one with me. We had a lot of practice matches together. Honestly, the guys that I would say that like made me the wrestler I am, though, like through and through, would be like Dante Allison. I don't know where he's at or what he's doing. DAT Alien. Don't know where he's at, if he's working or whatever. And Owen Knight. Owen Knight's still in the Georgia area, doing his thing.
Knight's killing it.
I fucking love Owen Knight. If you go into like some old Owen Knight footage from like 2015, 2014, when I was like training, you'll see Jak Tatum in his character. The amount of shit I stole from Owen Knight from when I was training, and I would see him at we'd have weekly shows that would get put up on the YouTube or whatever. I stole so much of his persona because something about him resonated with me, and I felt that was a way to get my voice out. Like anyone that knows me knows the yeah bullshit that I do when I come out. That's fucking Owen Knight. Everyone thinks it's like Luke Harper or Bray Wyatt, whatever. But no, I took it from Owen Knight. He used to come through the curtain and scream, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," while stomping around. I do it the exact same way he used to do. And so yeah, I guess this is my shout out to Owen Knight for I stole your bullshit. Thank you, bro. Yeah, I've never really publicly given Owen Knight the thanks I have for making me the wrestler I am, but he really, if anyone trained me other than Mr. Hughes, it was Owen Knight. Like, he was the guy that was hands off with me. He's the fucking man.
Why don't you take a picture? It'll last longer.
I turn my camera on. I cut my fingers on the way. On the way.
Welcome to Take the Pictures, a podcast within a podcast. I, with the help of Trey on some of these, have kind of.
Oh, fuck. For some reason, when you said Trey, I was like, oh, no, did Trey give you the pictures?
I give you some.
Yeah.
You could have done it dirtier.
That's part of why I was nervous about this whole fucking podcast. Was like, oh, what is Trey going to tell you to ask me? It's been so friendly. I'm surprised, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like there would have been more things like, what happened at Danger Zone?
We're going to get there, Jack. We're going to get there.
Oh, shit. That might have been my first profile picture as Jak Tatum on
Is that
Facebook.
Billie Eilish?
Yeah. my hair was still black. Right before I moved to Atlanta to start training, I was dating an emo chick, and I was trying to impress her, so I dyed all my hair black. And it was still black by the time I moved there. It was being in like Fulton Industrial Boulevard, Atlanta. Some people had some things to say about that hair. And you can't really tell from this picture, but I was a very skinny, like smaller guy. I was like maybe 150, skinny white boy, 18, long hair. You hear some things. But no, that was it was fuck. I think it was Stitch Osiris, who now goes by Chad Skywalker. He was just on a Firestar show with me. He just showed me how to springboard that day, and I was springboarding into that's the 16 by 16 ring that I was talking about earlier, and he showed me how to springboard, and I told my roommate at the time to take a picture of me while I was springboarding, and I thought it was the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. And it's super fucking cringe looking back at now because I don't even springboard. It's not even worth the trouble to me. So I just climb the rope. It's like, so it's such a I want to be Ricochet. It's so lame. But, yeah. Oh shit. I wasn't ready for the segment.
So
I got so ready for so much, but this segment.
It's my favorite segment.
I thought this was a whole different podcast.
They're together now.
Yeah, we merged. So when you mentioned Mr. Hughes, I was thinking like this huge, like super nice, this huge like space, and what I'm seeing here is the opposite. Like this, like the lighting's a little long.
So you can see that like little bit of green wall on the left by my foot. That was like a little sectioned off area. That was like the main ring. Was like that sectioned off area that was just a little bit bigger in the wrestling ring. Other than that, it was just it's just the back room of a building with some drop ceiling and 3 rings under it. And like as you can see, some of the ceiling's not there.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of the ceiling.
It's actually because next to that ring is the lucha ring. So they took the ceiling out of the lucha ring. They took the ceiling out of the lucha ring. It's not that we couldn't afford the ceiling. But they took the ceiling out of the lucha ring so guys could do, jumps and stuff. But trust me, they could do it with the ceiling. So it's just we couldn't afford replacing it. But yeah, no, it's you can look up WWA 4 on YouTube. They have thousands of matches from all sorts of guys and you can see like that green wall and that little yellow sign. You can see a little bit of it there. You'll be able to recognize that. That's the backdrop for the hard cam. But no, it was ratty, and it was about as nice of a story as I could have. It filled all my dreams as far as like what I wanted out of a wrestling fan. I was like, I'm gonna drive off to this other state and drop everything and become a wrestler.
Yeah.
It was as depressing and shitty as I wanted it to be. Yeah.
Do you have any stories about the Red Roof Inn?
We don't have time for that. I have so many. I could genuinely get people in trouble. Like people in positions like that have contracts. I could get them in like not like serious like, oh fuck, this guy needs to be canceled trouble. But like no, I could like I have some crazy stories about some people, and that's just people with names. I have stories.
Okay.
Oh my god, is that CC Young? Ah.
Yeah.
That's the that's two pictures. That's the AIWF
Yeah, you're right.
East.
Good job.
That's the AIWF East Coast Championship. And to my knowledge, I'm the first ever AIWF East Coast champion. That's what I was told, at least. I went on the AIWF website later on to like try and find any sort of legitimacy as far as the company working with them, and I didn't see any sort of tracking of the East Coast Championship, so I don't know if it's actually part of the AIWF or whatever. But
logo looks
it
like
was it wasn't my first singles belt, but it was the first belt that I had won in a singles capacity that I felt I actually had some good matches with. I actually felt like I represented it well. However, as you can see, you can't see it as much, but in that first picture on the left, the full picture blown up, you can see how comically large the belt
you can
is.
see it. Yeah,
you can see it on the right picture a little bit.
Yeah.
The jacket's helping me a little bit in that right picture, but that's probably when I was about 160. I was a much skinnier kid, and it was a monstrous belt. It was about the size of my rib cage. So if I had put it on my waist, I'm convinced it was a rib. Like someone was playing a joke on me. No one said they were. I had asked multiple times, "Is this a rib on me?" And then when I finally dropped the belt, it was Nemesis had beat me for the belt. When I dropped it, they debuted a new design. And it was a normal size. It was actually kind of small because Nemesis isn't like that big of a guy. It was actually a little smaller than a normal belt would be, and it looked good on him. So I'm still convinced it was a rib on me, but no one ever told me. For years, this was like something I hung my hat on, but no, it was probably just a joke played on me.
I'd also like to talk about this shirt. Says, if you think you know me,
stop! No!
It's a beautiful shirt. You think you know me? You don't know Jack. Jack Tatum with that haircut and that shirt, horrible human being.
The worst. The worst.
My least favorite version of Jack Tatum is right there in that fucking picture.
Oh fuck. Stop! That's cruel.
I love this picture so much.
It's very cruel of you to. So this was actually during COVID. UPWA, the promotion I had brought up earlier, that I I was ring crew for before I started training. When I was working with them, they were running during COVID. They had some show in like a fucking parking lot. They asked me to do a job. It was like a triple threat job match. So it was me and is it Drew Thomas? Drew something, very skinny, small kid with, I think he had his hair dyed blue at the time or whatever. But it's me and him versus Logan. And my mom took this picture because she found it very funny how much bigger the other guy was compared to me, which did nothing to my insecurity or fragile masculinity. It did. I felt nothing at all to her just laughing at how much larger.
That's actually where I got this picture from.
It's just a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked at your tag pictures and it was the caption of this was like, would you look at the size difference? Like that was.
Oh, that was the caption. Fuck. Yeah, I'm bigger now. All right. I'm just glad this is getting put up now because when I posted it, I didn't like make a big deal out of it because I thought it was like cooler than what it was. But I got to be one of Dalton Castle's boys on it was, I want to say, Ring of Honor Final Battle. It was the pay-per-view where the Hardys wrestled the Bucks in a ladder match.
Right
I know
before
that
they beat at WrestleMania.
Yeah, it was the WrestleMania weekend where they debuted.
Yeah.
I was down there for that WrestleMania weekend doing ring crew. And I remember being in the stands and Dalton Castle was like by the ring, like, I need you. He was just like grabbing whoever the fuck he saw to be his boys. And Josh Gary, who I was there with, who had actually brought me there to begin with. He I guess Dalton looked at him and like asked him, just like, anyone else? And he pointed up at me in the stands and he was like, oh, perfect. Because skinny little white boy, that's, one of the boys. That's the whole shtick.
I'm sensing there's some insecurity here.
Huh? A ton. A ton. Yeah.
Because
I wish I was Trey Havoc. Yeah.
No one of your friends a big black man.
Yeah. I wish I could just beal and chop people all day and people would be like, oh, that's great. But no, like I have to jump and shit.
I want to do cool shit sometimes, Jack.
I have to flip. People think I can moonsault. I have to constantly just relegate that. Like, oh no, I just didn't feel like moonsaulting today. But, like, people think I can do that shit. I can't. If I was built like Trey, I could just get away. Never mind. However,
moonsault is nice.
Shut up. It's beautiful.
Fuck you.
But yeah, so I was brought on to be one of Dalton Castle's boys for a very big pay-per-view. I think he wrestled for the title against Jay Lethal that night. He had a big match. It was either Jay Lethal or something else like that. Super cool. One of the other guys fucked up the spot where we do it to like a human staircase. And I remember that to this day. It pissed me off so deeply that he blew it. But yeah, no, I was one of Dalton Castle's boys. It was great. He stepped on me. Keep giggling, fucker.
Okay, Tony. Car accident. You have to come back home. You have to, lick your wounds, whatever. So where do you go from there, Jack? What is the first promotion that you look for when you come back to, your hometown?
That's actually a very good question. So I'm just going to pretend we're just going with the podcast. But, that's actually a very pivotal part. So, like I said, UPWA, I was like a ring boy for years before I went to training because I just Googled independent wrestling near me. And so I was just doing ring crew stuff for them and screwing around in the ring before the show and whatever, getting whatever training I could. So then I go to training, car wreck happens, I'm stuck back in North Carolina. All right, what do I do? So I hit up the promoter for UPWA and tell him I'm trained now. I know how to wrestle. You want to use me. He throws me on a show. I have a match. That match is somewhere on YouTube. It's very hard to find. It's like a fan recording, and it's under some weird ass name, but it's somewhere out there. That's my first actual independent show, and then it was just kind of that guy, the guy I wrestled, wanted to tag with me, and he brought me to another promotion to tag with him. That's actually where I tagged against Trey Havoc here. Is my first ever independent match was with JoJo, and then he's like, "Hey, you have a lot of potential. You want to tag?" Brings me to Danger Zone, and we tag against you and your throw together partner,
Sure, good sure.
and then it was just kind of off to the races from there.
All
Honestly.
right. Welcome back after a little brief technical difficulties. We are back. How's everybody doing?
This is a horrific podcast.
Yeah, I'm very sorry.
I don't know why I had expectations.
You really started to hurt my feelings. Just
Like,
You don't have to do this.
I work very hard on this podcast, and I take pride in it. And you're just kind of
like, look, I don't want this to come across wrong. Daniel, I love you. You're an awesome dude. Like, I've gotten along with you on such a good level, but like for some reason, this podcast has occupied a space in my head of like, this is the Joe Rogan experience of the Eastern indie wrestling scene. Like, it's like as far as like me, this is JRE. But now that I'm realizing it's just like, fucking Matt and Shane's secret podcast or whatever, I don't know, just like we're fucking around. It's great. I love it.
yeah.
It's a great podcast. It's just
It's different than what you expected.
exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm let down, but I'm let down. So this picture here is actually it's obviously not a shoot. It's obviously I'm not fucking hitchhiking in this picture. But it's based off of a real scenario where this championship, Jesus Christ, it's heavy. The Next Level Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Championship that I beat Trey Havoc for company before I won this belt. I was a social media champion, that belt that you see in my hands there. Now, when I found this company, this is like at the peak of when I was homeless, just kind of trying to figure my shit out. I didn't know, like I was genuinely homeless at points. Like I can't emphasize it enough. It's very like whatever. And there were one of the, I think it was the sixth show. It was the fifth or sixth show. I won their belt, their social media championship. That belt in the picture. And the next show, I didn't have a ride to the show, but I had to defend my belt, obviously. So I couldn't find a ride, but from like 30 minutes from the show. So I had to find a ride to that point I need to find a ride an hour and a half from my destination. So I hitchhiked. I just genuinely hitchhiked. It was like a 40 minute ride from a trucker, 20 minutes from just some guy, and another 10, 15 minutes from someone that was like in a downtown area. That was like, I'll get you across town. And then I was like wandering around town with my roller bag in hand with all my gear in it and stuff. And I was maybe 10 minutes from the venue. So I was just walking the rest of the way. And then I see a truck pull up at a four-way stop that has a trailer attached to it. And in the trailer is a ring. And I realized that's the ring truck for the show.
Yeah.
And the guy in the ring truck notices me. He's like, oh, shit, that's the social media champion. Hey, come in. And I run up to the truck. The truck's full of people. They already picked up like some fucking green ring crew kid on the way there or whatever. So there's no room in the truck. It's like, all right, fuck it. I hop on the bed of the truck and I'm just like perched on top of a ring in a trailer. And I ride 15, 20 minutes, whatever, to the show with my belt. And in my backpack there is my gear and whatever in this picture. I think at the time I had the roller bag, but yeah, no, it's like there's a few months there where it was like a genuinely hitchhike to a show, and then someone told me, hey, you should take a picture that kind of embodies that sort of thing that you had to go through to on your adventure, and that's what this picture is. It's all it is. It's a journey with the belt and what it took to gain the belt, defend it, and make it to show after show. Because I had a few years where I just didn't have a driver's license due to negligence and just being lazy and stuff, and I was bumming rides, and just that was my thing. Yeah, that's how Trey Havoc and I became best friends. Honestly, he was just another wrestler that lived in Wilmington, and I would just ride with him to places, and we'd get to know each other on these rides. Fuck. These are good ones. I actually remember when I posted these last on Facebook. I posted both of these when I was in a very bad place. Trey can probably actually attest to that. At least that first one. That
Yeah.
Comic-Con, Jack was I just referred to myself in third person.
Jack was
Fayetteville Comic-Con that we had tagged at, and I was not okay. Is all I'll say. Yeah, little like time capsule to like when Trey Havoc and I first wrestled each other. The first time we met, we wrestled in a tag match. I was in a very similar place as to that picture. I was in a very aggressive, like stuff's not going my way in life, but I was a lot younger, so I took it out on him in the match, and that's actually kind of a large foundation of our relationship is that moment we had in that match. But the story for another time. Honestly, steps 2 and 3 of our relationship. Step 1 is me just taking out my aggression in my personal life on him, and our first ever meeting. And so the picture on the right where he's picking me up like a bag of fucking shit. That match actually fuck.
Yeah.
That's actually the first time Trey and I ever wrestled one-on-one. Our first time meeting, we wrestled in a tag match, and then we just gotten along and run into each other here and there and built a friendship. And then eventually he had made friendships with a promotion that was starting up, and they asked him who he wanted to wrestle, and he said me. So they brought me in, and this was either their first or second show ever.
The first one.
It was the first one. And so like at that point, I think we were friends for 4 or 5 years, maybe. So this was like a big deal. It was like, oh shit, I get to finally wrestle my best friend one-on-one and just go out there and do the thing we love together and perform the art we love. But unfortunately, a week or 2 before the show, my father had passed away. And my father was, besides maybe my twin brother, my biggest fan. He used to compare me to The Rock and Hulk Hogan and shit. It was crazy. So like my father passing was a big thing on me. That was the only break I took in wrestling. Was after that match, I took a 3-month break. But since that match was announced and like my father passed, I was like, what better match to have? But then with this friend that I'm building a relationship with in this business. So we go out there and we have a match, and I would say I dragged ass through that match a lot of times. He kind of carried me through it here and there, but it was a lot of fun. Whatever, it was very therapeutic for me. It was very therapeutic. So that picture on the right means a lot to me. And then it's funny because like where you probably found it was probably me captioning it of me saying Trey Havoc dragging me back from the bar, taking me to the gym or something. So it's so funny that has a sort of funny overlay of it, but like at the core of it, it's very like serious and intimate. But no, that's the first time me and Trey ever wrestled was that match. And there's a lot of dumb stuff I always remember. I remember I drop kicked his leg out from under him, and I ended up just on my belly, and I just kicked my feet up in the air and did tummy time, like little things like that that'll stick with me forever. That means nothing to nobody, because nobody remembers. 100% nobody remembers that match. Nobody remembers that. Me and Trey have wrestled like maybe 4 or 5 times since then. That is the least memorable match we've had. It's
Not
the
for
first
me.
time we did. But yeah, it's very special to me. It holds a very special place in my heart. And then is that the first time we tagged?
That
on the
is
live?
when we tagged with that's when we tagged with
That's
Ali and D.
yeah. Is
For
that
the
the first
8-man
time we
tag.
tagged, right?
It might be.
I think it is.
I think it might be the first time we
I think
tagged.
it is. That's when the picture on the left, that's it's a bad angle on my body, but it's about it's about as best of shape as I've been in my life. But Trey had recently joined the Gorilla Squad at the time, which the Gorilla Squad, for anyone that doesn't know, is an infamous group in North Carolina, runs North Carolina independent wrestling scene. For the last 20 years, Gorilla Squad was NWO, basically. Like
Yes.
that's, as someone that grew up watching independent wrestling in North Carolina, the Gorilla Squad was king. So Trey Havoc had recently been sort of brought in to their ranks. And then my affiliation with Trey Havoc, the way I see it is they basically said, "Hey Trey, you want your little friend to hang out with us?"
I brought him to a Gorilla Squad meeting, and they said, "Is he in it?" I was like, "Yeah." And all right, he's in it.
And it was after a show we had. We had the Gorilla Squad meeting, or it was before. I don't fucking remember.
It was before.
We had the Gorilla Squad meeting, and it's just like, "Hey, here's a shirt." And I was in the Gorilla Squad, so I was like, "All right, fucking awesome." Yeah. But this is the first time we got booked as a Gorilla Squad tag team, and like I said, a lot going on that weekend, so I was like mentally checked out of it. But it's about as tagging with Trey was about as like mentally anchored as I could have been at that time. And like you can probably tell a little bit from the picture, but I'm just like fucking off. I was in such a relaxed mood. And you'll see that anytime if you ever see a match with me tagging with Trey. And I've been critiqued of this, honestly, as in it's a bad thing and I need to work on it. It's like whenever I've tagged with Trey, you're having too much fun. and it's the best thing ever. We're just goofing off a little too much.
Yeah. We just click so well that it's like, and I will say some of my best tag work has been just me and Jack just not giving a shit and just going out and just having fun. And like, I tag with quite a few people. I've tagged with quite a few people.
You get around.
I know I'm a whore, but there's nobody that I feel as comfortable with as I do with Jack. Me and Jack can go wrestle. We can get signed tomorrow and go fucking tag on the E, and it'll be like a day that we just have.
The way I had to describe this the other day to Jared, who you know, who's a kid I'm training. I tag with him occasionally. I just like my ability to tag with this person, that person, that person, or whatever. And he said something about when he saw you and me tag last at the last ACW show. And I just like, it's for me, like as much as Jak Tatum is me, like I am Jak Tatum, that's my name and everything, obviously. But like the character that everyone knows, yada yada, is a portrayal of me. The most real version you will see of the person behind the character is when you see me tag with Trey. Like that's the real Trey Havoc and the real Jak Tatum teaming with each other.
Yeah,
is a weird, fun way to put it together, because it's like we're not any different than we are at any other match or whatever. But when you see us tag with each other, it's like that's who we are. Like you just see our personality flow. I don't know. It's a cute dynamic we have.
It's a very adorable dynamic that we have.
I'd also like to share this picture that you posted.
Bro, look at my arm there. Ah!
Look at him.
It
The
says
cannon.
the face you make
Crazy.
when you got the whole ass Gorilla Squad backing you up.
I remember the day that we took that picture because we also did a vignette when we took that picture. Bruh, Jack was in his bag, right? He was so fucking happy to be there. But it was such a long fucking day.
Been grinding for so many years. I just needed any validation.
Yeah.
There's like, oh, these guys that were on the first wrestling show I ever saw want to take a picture with me and say I'm them. Yeah. Me on Ali Steele's shoulders versus Colby on Rob Killjoy's shoulders. I don't know how else to explain that except for just that. The match started. Colby got on Rob's shoulders, and then I got on Ali's shoulders, and then and that was that. I think we wrestled for about 2 minutes that way.
Had a chicken fight, yeah.
But it's just one of those dumb things that happen at like a sort of Comic-Con event. Yeah. But for me, it was a real moment to measure myself up with Colby Carino, the top dog in North Carolina. This was the venue to stand up to him. Oh, I haven't seen this one.
You haven't seen this one?
No.
Because it came from my personal. It came from my personal shit.
Oh, that's such a sweet one. Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say to this one. Fuck. That's a lot. It's me and Trey for the next level heavyweight championship. He was the third ever next level heavyweight champion. And he was insistent on having a match with me for the belt or whatever, and making it the biggest match possible. And they have like a yearly show where they'll have it in front of it's just at 71st High School. They'll have like 400 or 500 people there. It's their biggest show. And he was insistent that we have it there, so on and so forth. And then there's all this build up, all this, we know each other. It's all this history. And finally I have the match. It's probably the most cathartic moment I've ever had in wrestling. I would say it was the most just I don't know, natural. Like it's what was supposed to happen. We had the match. It was beautiful. I beat him for the belt. In fact, I just about killed his ass. It's so crazy. And those moments after the match, which this picture encapsulates, it was it honestly, as someone that broke into the business, and I had a twin brother, like I brought up earlier, that broke into the business with me.
He's alive, just dead to you.
Yeah. It's like you have these fantasies of being, you and your twin brother doing this thing and colliding. Like you're Jeff and Matt Hardy, essentially, are the fantasies that you're having. But he fell out of love with wrestling. It just wasn't for him. So I didn't have that other half. Trey had become that other half, essentially. And this match was the culmination of it all for me. And the moments after it were just, I don't often get emotional in the ring. I'm often very just clocked in, just doing business, whatever. It's one of the few times you'll actually see me, you'll hear my voice crack when I say something or whatever. And it's just him handing me I made him hand me the belt. They handed me the belt. I handed it to him to make him hand it to me, because that's when it felt real. It's just
You see me smiling, so like you see me smiling.
yeah, like it's just the most real life has ever felt to me was in that moment, because it was like something we both had worked for to make happen, and it had just happened. It was like it was vindicating. I don't know. There's so many positive words I could use to describe this moment, but it's like if my career ended tomorrow, I'm happy with that match being the peak of it, essentially.
You're gonna make Trey cry.
Legitimately, like halfway through, and I was like, I'm getting emotional.
Yeah.
Fucking like this, yeah. Like it's no secret. Fucking, I said I'm having this match at this show with this person. There's nobody else that deserves this spot than Jack. Because going as far back as we do, seeing how much he's grown, seeing his ups, his downs, his sacrifices, his highs, his lows, and seeing that dedication that I have and I have had, he has, if not more, fucking to move to a different state to train by him fucking self, come back here, be homeless for wrestling.
It's all I could afford.
It's it's something that he and I share. He's a lot more open with it than I am. But fucking, I wasn't going to have that moment with anybody else. I wasn't going to do that with anybody else.
It's a beautiful metaphor for, I always joke about grabbing at Trey Havoc's coattails. But it's like, he won this championship, and then he gave me the shot at the belt, and then I beat him for the belt. So it was like, in a way, it was like me actually grabbing his coattails and like pulling myself up to him. But I can't be thankful enough for Trey as a friend, because it's like we're both people that, like, you know, we elevate and we bring each other up to each other or whatever. And that's why we're here on this podcast, because otherwise you wouldn't have me on. I'm on to you, Daniel. Son of a bitch.
The thing that I like to say is, yes. So I'll go and I'll pull Jack up, and then Jack will come with me, and then Jack will surpass me, and then Jack will go and he'll reach down his hand and he'll pick me up, and then I'll go, and then so it's we're elevating and we're helping. So this
is my favorite little bit we got going, or it's like Trey will get into a new promotion and he'll make his name there, and then they'll ask him like, "Hey, do you know anybody?" And he'll be like, "Yeah, my friend Jack." And then they'll bring me in, but my debut match will be against like their top guy. Like Trey will go in and like do all the hard work, and it's like, "Hey, you should use my friend Jack." And they're like, "Hey, Jack, you want to wrestle our champ?"
You want to wrestle Robert Martyr?
Yeah, okay, exactly.
You want to wrestle John Davis?
You earned that match though, because you had to do camera crew at the show before.
Apparently, I was terrible.
Yeah.
To be fair, he recruited me from the bar. Someone came up to me at the bar and was like, "Hey, can you use the camera?" I was like, "I guess."
Am I gonna get booked?
Look at a match out of it.
So, kids out there, if you're getting started in wrestling, go to a bar show, buy the $5 margarita.
Hell yeah.
And just hope the clout takes you further.
You're Trey's friend, right?
Yeah. Be Trey Havoc's friend.
Jesus.
Drop the ball completely on camera work, but the principle matters. Next thing you know, you're wrestling Robert Martyr on his day off.
Jack, I've lucked myself. I don't know how, but now I'm wrestling John Davis.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but I'm wrestling Robert Martyr.
The amount of truth with the John Davis match is hilarious. He's like, it just didn't process until I shook his hand. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's the guy from Evolve."
Yeah, it's John fucking Davis.
Yeah, I don't know why it didn't click. There's so much mix up with that match, so it just didn't. I don't know. But it's just the day of. It's like, oh, I think I'm doing something.
Like, I can say, with as envious of you as I get when you get these spots, I couldn't be prouder from like first meeting you and fucking then second meeting you in Myrtle Beach and then watching the shit, like I said, the shit that you've overcome, you've gone through to be where you're at, and now exceeding that shit, being told by Steve Carino that you're one hell of a heel.
Not bad. So Jack, we've kind of seen what you've done, how much you've dedicated yourself to this business. For you, what would make you say, like, I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish in this business?
It's a very existential question. I mean, to be able to feel like I've accomplished what I've set out to accomplish, I just shouldn't have to be doing anything else, you know? Like the way I see it is when I get to a point in life when once a week, maybe twice a week, 3 times a week, I wrestle and that's my life. The other days of the week, tell the dog to shut the fuck up. The other days of the week, everyone else just leaves me alone. And then 2 to 3 days I come out and I get to wrestle and do what I do better than everyone else. Great. That's my ideal life, is I just get to wrestle and be left alone. That's it. That's the ideal.
Okay.
That's what I want out of wrestling at the end of the day. Is to be left alone, besides when I'm in the ring, I guess.
And on that note, I guess it's a good time to leave you alone. So we will end this episode of. Do you have anything you would like to leave us with? Any wise words besides get out of my house? Like, it's like the Cribs where they're like, "Hey man, you don't have to
gotta
go
home, but you gotta get the hell up out of here."
No. And
Who do you think you are? I am!
I warm it up like Kane in his prime. Fuck with us, you insane in the mind. You cowards way out of line. Money talk, boy, you wasting my time. You don't wanna put the work in, you just wanna taste of the shine. We'll talk, so it's hard to trust. I'm in it for the long ride, like I drive a chartered bus. Scars and blood from the deadly bars I bust. And all we trust, the army body bombs or bust. Blog about it, naysayer, you can hardly doubt it. Who's the best, who's the worst? We can argue hours. Running through Soldier Field, I'm Jordan Howard. Nowadays, they respect money more than power. Money, power, respect, we all want some.
to have a regular life. Wrestling is horrible for me. I have a problem. Look, the first step is admitting that you have a fucking problem. I have a problem with wrestling, okay? I need to be cut off. All right.